Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome back to another solo podcast episode, also known as SOL, also known as Student of Life. I am Yve Marie, your host, and today we are going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 2, Pass the Test. During the process of creating something, we will be tested. And it's almost as if the world is asking us if this is something that we truly want. Pass the test. The test most of the time comes in the form of distractions or obstacles. These are things that appear that can divert our attention away from the path that we have chosen to take. And again, the majority of the time, this is merely to test how badly you want this thing. And the thing is, how bad do you want to create this thing in your life that is not existing yet? Prove to yourself that it is important, something that you want. Sometimes these tests also, on the flip side, they'll force us to reevaluate how important this thing is. Is it actually you want? And a lot of the time, the distraction may come in the form of something that is already existing in your life. If you actually want this thing, will you remove this thing? Or will you force this thing? Will you reshape this thing in your life so you can have space for this thing in your life? So a lot of the time, the test does come in the form of distractions or obstacles. So why? Why distractions and obstacles? Well, sometimes it's easier to just give in to the distraction or the obstacle when it's being presented to us as an option. Now, the things that we want to create in our life, more times than not, they do require some form of sacrifice in some way, shape, or form. Now, when we decide to give in to the obstacle instead of standing our ground or finding a solution around it, we are admitting to ourselves through our own actions that what we want to create is not more important than the obstacle that was presented to us as an option. Again, a lot of the time we're not thinking that this is another obstacle or distraction that is in the way of what we're trying to create. Most often than not, it's something that may, again, already exist, or it is something that is an option, an opportunity even sometimes. But again, we have to make the assessment. So how do we make the assessment? When we're faced with the conflict between what we're creating, whether it be an obstacle or distraction, what do? You have to make the assessment, and the assessment is made by asking yourself these questions. It's priority. Priority comes first. What is most important and pertinent at this given time? And what I'm creating, is it more important than this obstacle that is presenting itself? Or is it something that I can put to the side after I handle this? Like, does this have to be handled right now? Because emergency situations do exist, okay? So you want to take these things into account. There are nuances to these things. You want to ask yourself, what solution can be implemented to make the obstacle disappear or to make it more manageable? Again, what solution can be implemented to make the obstacle disappear or to make it more manageable when it comes to what you're trying to create? Because sometimes you do have to make a balance between the two. Some things can't just be getting rid of. Usually if it's something that you can just get rid of, it's usually just a distraction. Now, if you have asked yourself these questions and you're finding that neither one of these two things apply, that's how usually you know it's a distraction. If it's something you can get around and something you don't necessarily need, it's usually a distraction. And once you realize that it is a distraction and it's something that not of high importance that is still diverting your attention, stand your ground. Choose what you are creating always. Choose what you are creating always. So, pass the test. When an opportunity or an option comes to you that is diverting your attention away from the life that you are wanting to create, you need to assess and make sure that you know that this is an obstacle and or a distraction and it is diverting your attention. You have to have that awareness. That way you know whether you need to stand your ground, make a solution, or completely release it altogether. For me personally, I am very well aware of the fact that the majority, the majority of my distractions come in the form of other people. Now, it's not to say that, oh, all by myself. I'm super focused. I am highly attentive. I am really good at like follow through and things of that nature that help you stay focused on a plan all the way till the end. I have my own struggles just like everybody else. However, when it comes to my attention being diverted, most often than not, it is someone else and something that they are going through. Or it is not, even if it's not negative, sometimes it can be very positive, but it is the attention when other people want to garner my attention. And I had to learn how to say no. I had to learn how to say no, and it's very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And I remember, I believe it was my sister or it was a friend, but she came to me and she asked, she's like, I don't understand how you can have this, like, I don't know if she said cold or cutthroat. She used either one of those words actually, but it had the similar sentiment. I don't know how you could just like turn around and turn your shoulder and say no. And I told her like, I had to learn. And it was interesting because I think the story I gave her was about her and her son. Her baby boy can get anything from me. To this day, he can get anything from me. And I truly know for a fact that that has come in between me and what I'm creating. Obviously, that is not a child's fault. That I, as an adult, it's my responsibility to hold boundaries. Here's the problem. A lot of us as adults are not holding boundaries to these situations, especially when it comes down to obligations or things that we think we have to do, or we were taught that this is what is important. People are important. Community is important, especially in the long run. However, there is a time and a place for everything. And there are times when the people that we love and care about will come around, and they're not always meant to be around. Just because they came around doesn't mean that they're meant to be around. It is your responsibility to assess what is important right now. My family, my friends, the people that I care about, is this something that is important right now? Can I call this person back later? I gotta call somebody right now. That one's important. Me saying that is making me realize I do have somebody I gotta call, and it is important. However, love you. This person, they called me yesterday, and I told myself it wasn't until I finished this task that I would call them back. Now, I should have called them back yesterday. There is no reason why I did not call them back, other than the fact that I did not hold space and hold boundaries to make sure all these things that were coming in my way, to make sure that they were held back until this got done. Meaning that until I handle that, then I can handle this, and then I can call my friend. Which, I love you still, and I pray you're well. I'm going to call you after this. It is so, so, so important that you, as your own human, your own person writing these stories, that you pass this test. Because no, it's not anyone else's test. This person coming to you, we don't know. This may be their test, but them specifically, what they're creating is not being tested by them coming to you. Does that make sense? Like, it's what you're creating. What you're creating is being tested by these people, these things, these distractions. And again, it could be phone notifications. It could be anything. But I just use the example as people because for me, that was my biggest crutch. And even though I can say that it did take me a long time to be able to welcome people in a much more community-minded way, it still was something that was the bottleneck for me, because as I was welcoming people in, I still had to learn to hold boundaries. And this was one of my boundaries that I had to learn with people and with myself. So, pass the test. Choose what is important right now.